Today we are going to talk about Oryx and Crake. It's a novel written by Margaret Atwood. It's a speculative novel. A lot of speculation you could say, but we won't be getting into the issues like are the speculation justified, but we will try to convey what the author wants to convey through her work. So basically we follow two timelines. One is near dystopian future and other is after a catastrophic event due to which almost all the humanity has died, and our main character goes by the name Snowman or Jimmy, and novel on and overall is set in a near future, nothing too crazy like time travel, but we have concepts like gene splicing, hybrid animals, and cure-all pharmaceuticals. And it also portrays a reflection of our modern society, our relationships, our hypocrisies, the way we lie to ourselves, like, and it also gives some idea about the power dynamics in our relationships.
So crackers are genetically modified humans made by crack. So after the catastrophic event, only crackers and snowmen survived. Crackers are made by crack, and crackers have a lot of abilities. Everyone have beautiful green eyes. They have no self-consciousness. They just believe whatever snowman tells to them, whatever he feeds to in their mind. They can grow very rapidly, but they can no longer survive after 30. Like they have no old age and no anxiety kind of like things. And female raise children, and men have equipped with special pests why which animals keep away from them, and they were designed to live in very harsh conditions. There are special abilities the crackers have, and they also have self-healing abilities.
Who are you?
I'm Snowman.
Who sent you?
Oryx and Drake send me.
Why did he send you?
I am here to guide you.
Oh, Snowman, tell us how have you made?
You are children of Drake. Drake use coral to make your bones and use mango to make your flesh. Then Oryx laid two eggs, one for animals, one for birds. When the birds' egg hatched, you ate all the birds. That's why you can speak, but animals cannot.
Oh, Snowman, what is this?
This is chaos.
Oh, this smells so bad.
But here Atwood raises ethical questions on bioengineering through her work. As we advance in biotechnology, the question arises how far we can go. Like crack, the crack's vision for the crackers is an extreme version, but reducing human beings to mere biological functions.
Okay, so but why would you say that? Like, for me personally, I found the solution by Craig to be very practical. Like, for example, the way they now made it, they show courtship behavior. They only do once per 3 years per female. Now there is no more prostitution left in the society. There is no sexual abuse. Like, he has eliminated any agony related to the sexual competition or frustration. Like, why are that things not desirable?
Yeah, it's true. It solves some human relationship problems, but for achieving that, he stripped human relationships of any emotional depth, reducing intimacy to a detached, meaningless act.
To add on Himanshu's point, the crackers have been altered to such an extent that they resemble animals in many ways. Cracker have Craig, Craig has taken away what he saw as destructive aspect of human culture, like religion or pursuit of abstract power, but in doing so, he reduces human complexity. This dehumanization is both physical and cultural, raising question about what makes us humans, how much that can be manipulated or be removed.
To add on even further, even if Craig feels his creations are perfect, Snowman thinks they are useless. Crackers are useless. He feels alone. He is very outraged and frustrated, and he can't find any kind of companionship between him and crackers. Snowman feels nostalgia for human creativity, which trackers lack. They have no human creativity, and this theme tries to convey the consequences of neglecting cultural heritage. It forces a deeper appreciation of human creativity beyond plain utility.
A male frog in mating season tries to make noise as much as he can because the female believes that more powerful is the frog is. So in such that case, what the small frog do is to amplify their voice, they get inside the drainage pipe. So that's what an art is. For an artist, empty drainage pipe, an amplifier, and a step of getting labeled.
So now we can recall Craig's belief that human relationships are flawed, fundamentally flawed due to biological mismatches. So in the end, Craig creates a highly controlled and simplified society. And this shows the consequence of over-reliance on science to solve social issues. So Atwood is trying to critique the idea that science can fix all the human problems. Is it even desirable to solve those problems? It seems today that that is a problem. Or is it even possible to have a complete control over nature? Like it was shown in Snowpiercer and Downsizing as well, that how human actions or humans try to take control could result in unintended consequences.
Snowman's reference to colonialism was short in chapter 1 but was significant. He imagines comes from an era when European imposed order with morally questionable methods. He thinks of himself, it wouldn't have said raping, refrain from fraternizing with female inhabitants. He bets they didn't refrain through 9 times out of 10.
Snowman recognizes how official directives often try to hide harsh realities. He assumes that despite the rules, and rightly so, the colonists probably engaged in those acts. This reflects the view of human hypocrisy and moral failure. This is a recurring theme in the novel. The post-apocalyptic world we live in now is the result of unchecked human impulse such as greed, exploitation, and the failure of the adhere to ethics. So, there was many genetic research which was moderately debated in the novel. As we can see, there is one Pigun project. So, in the main, what is the main goal of the Pigun project? So, we can see here we can grow and foolproof human tissue organs in the pig, and pig is considered as a host for transplantation. Okay, so rather than being destroyed, it could keep on living and grow more organs. So, it is obvious that when organs will be harvested from pigeons, they would have to feel a lot of pain, and it is very bad for the pigs. But it would be much more ethical to kill them before harvesting. But to save money, we are doing this thing. So they are being designed to grow back tissues in the pigs, and they have to feel pain again and again and again.
It was claimed they never end up as bacon or sausages. But once there was a food shortage, but it is no longer true. To go further, it was shown that special chicken was eyeless, beakless, or even the brainless head. We can compare it to the situation we had in the Soylent Green and ask ourselves where we have to draw the line in the name of survival. Think about how much life was tormented during experimentation for making crackers, woolworms, bacons, etc.
But in short, the text tries to critique the commodification of life, whether it's animals or even emotions. Okay, the author wants to suggest that when we reduce life to a product for sale, we lose something essential.
Great phrase, wave of the future, has an ironic tone. This kind of progress is dystopian in nature. It should be questioned whether all the technological advancements are beneficial or are they simply for a tool of exploitation and control.
What is toast? Toast is when you take a piece of bread. What is bread? Bread when you take some flour. What is flour? Well, skip that part, it's too complicated. Bread is something you can eat made from a ground up plant and shaped like a straw. You cook it. Please, why do you cook? Why don't you just eat the plant? Never mind that part. Pay attention. You cook it, then you cut into slices and you put a slice into a toaster, which is a metal box that heats up with electricity. What is electricity? Don't worry about that. While the slice is in the toaster, you go to get the butter. Butter is a yellow grease made from mammary glands. Oh my god, skip the butter. So the toaster turns the slice of bread back on both sides with smoke coming out. Then this toaster shoots the slice up into the air and it falls on the floor. Forget it. Let's try again. Toast was a pointless invention. Toast cannot be explained by any rational means. Toast is me. I am toast. So the idea of the previous passage reminds us of the scene where Ramanov was seen to be really frustrated about how humans consume more energy than it was necessary, which led to end of their world. Or it is the similar in the sense that most of the inventions are not truly useful. So Atwood also comments on how businesses and governments use consumers' insecurities and fears to profit or manipulate them. Moreover, most of the products are not necessary, actually their demand is manufactured. So one of the main examples given in the text was the blissful pill. So basically it has three purposes which was told to the population, which was mainly protecting from STDs, you had unlimited supply of sexual prowess, and it prolonged your youth. But there was a fourth utility which was never advertised. So the Blispus pill would act as a birth control, universal birth control for all the males and females, and suppressing population level on a global level.
Atwood also critiques a societal obsessed with youth. Craig's intention to sell crackers straight based on consumer needs to speak of the consumer mindsets where the demand is generally overweight ethical consideration. Another issue which was also raised in A Soylent Green as well. How much or to what extent it is okay to hide something from the general population, which would be hard for the people to digest for their own good. Who has the right to make these decisions?
So first we got to know about the village of Oryx, which is overpopulated and very poor. Even though it is claimed that the sold children live a good life, but everyone understands which probably is not true. Children are sold regularly in this village, which later Oryx admits most probably she would have taken the same action his mother did. This raises a critical question on how many mortality would have been an economic collapse or worse climate change settings. It can be easily seen that commodification of individuals especially women and children, may take place. We also see these children had to go from being flower sellers to actors in their adult films, words being sold to rich old men. This way, Atwood touches on the desensitization of both individuals and society as a whole to suffering and violence. Oryx calm and detached, the telling of horrific experience as if nothing happened. Even justifying her exploiter's actions points to the psychological numbness that comes from continuous trauma. It was also shown in the Snowpiercer movie that how children can easily be molded if done from an early age. How Andy, under the Wilford's influence, refused to leave his job of running the train.
To add further to Himanshu's argument, it also reflects a societal numbness where these realities are ignored or normalized, particularly when they happen to marginalized groups. It also shown, though, the content Craig and Jimmy consumed on the internet, Hot Dots, a global sex torting sites, Heads Off, which played live coverage of execution in Asia, or the game of Extentathon or Blood and Roses. There was the assisted suicide site too, Natinet.com. There was said to be a long lineup of people willing to pay big bucks for chance to appear on it and snub themselves in glory. Even lottery were held to choose the participants. This also comments on how artificial life has become. Today, people go to such length to present their fake self to look good on social media. Although such content today is scarce, allegedly existing on the dark web, it can be normalized, especially in the dystopian society. Similarly, them themes were also discussed in Snowpiercer, like how front were completely desensitized to the back.
Author also reflects modern human relationships and how it can become even worse in technological utopia. The relationship tend towards more artificiality as people becomes more busy and stressed. People have less opportunities to connect with each other. So it was shown in the novel like Jimmy always tried to get her mother's attention, but he rarely could actually get it. So slowly he just wanted to get a reaction. Now, attention was also not the issue, but just a reaction, any reaction, and most of the times it ended up her crying. So this continued. Now we could see in future relationships of Jimmy like he just had a desire to feed off women's vulnerabilities. Although it was shown Jimmy actually fell in love with Oryx, but to be honest, it was quite a toxic relationship. It was tainted with insecurity, dependency, manipulation, and other things. So, but it was author's way of saying that at least the relationship wasn't fake. They at least knew each other, what they truly were. So what Atwood is trying to say here is how technological progress can lead to human disconnection.
That illness isn't productive. In itself, it generates no commodities and therefore no money, although it's an excuse for a lot of activities. All it really does money-wise is cause wealth to flow from the sick to the well, from patient to doctors, from client to pure peddlers. Money osmosis, you might call it.
Granted.
Now, suppose you are outfit called Health Visor. Suppose you make your money out of the drugs procedure that cures sick people, or else better that make it impossible for them to get sick in the first place.
But don't they keep discovering new disease?
Not discovering, they are creating them. Health Visor. They have been doing it for years.
So, Craig describes how HealthWiser deliberately creates diseases and then sells the antidotes to profit from human suffering. This also reflects real-world concerns about pharmaceutical companies prioritizing profiting over public health, also highlighting the power that corporations wield over individuals, and also how information can be suppressed. These issues were also discussed in Friend of the Earth, that how difficult life of Tai had become after going amongst big corporations. So, people from the compound were shown to have vacancies to go to Cleveland. This also highlights the fact that people responsible more for global warming or climate change suffer less compared to poor. In a society, as technology progresses and resources dwindle, the disparity between rich and poor increases. These issues were also discussed in Snowpiercer movie.
So basically, these narratives reflect current societal fears about consequences of unchecked scientific progress. So basically, for example, the engineered virus that eradicates the humanity, to speak in novel, speaks of bioengineering weapons falling in wrong hands. So basically, Craig's ultimate act could could be seen as a critique to ideals that prioritize progress over human ethics or empathy. So this is also highly relevant in discussion about accountability of scientists, corporation and governments who are trying who are in development who are looking to develop technologies, and how could they have like far reaching unintended consequences. So for example, the reference to cops reflect the concerns about growing role of corporation in controlling the populations today, like the amount of control governments have today over the citizens or businesses have over citizens. It's clearly visible on news channels, social media. Yeah. So basically, now Jimmy's guilt represents the idea that even passive complicity makes one culpable. So even though Jimmy feels remorse, but he still participated in Craig's activity and did very little to stop. So Atwood here questions whether witnessing injustice without acting is itself a form of participation in that injustice. So this is very relevant to current climate change discussion. People choose not to act, knowing they have to face far dire consequences compared to population responsible for the climate change. So it also should be noted how increasingly difficult it becomes to trust each other in such settings. Take for example of snowmen who yearn for contact for years. That was a human contact other than crickets, right? So, but when he first met the three strangers or saw the three strangers, his first instinct was, should I shoot them? Are they safe? So this also was discussed in Policy Direct, right? When people are shooting each other over 2 cans of food, right? So in such a world, psychological and emotional distress makes human more vulnerable compared to the other physical barriers.
Old. So, okay, between that and this book, well, what is more frightening? I would say that this book is more frightening because when you're talking about political systems, we know that they can be overcome and changed. And that's how The Handmaid's Tale ends. It ends with a section that takes place after the time of the book in which that system is over. And I am therefore one of those people who have always thought that George Orwell's 1984 is a more cheerful book than some people have supposed, because what you remember is the end of it with Winston Smith in a comatose state and the boot grinding into the human face forever. But how the book really ends is with a note on Newspeak written in standard English in the past tense, which means that the world of 1984 has been finished. Okay, so that is a more hopeful scenario. The one in this book brings together environmental catastrophe, which we're already, heading towards. Not senile yet. Can still open bottle of water. Cheering. It brings together environmental catastrophe on the one hand, and our scrabbling attempts to do something about the diminishing food supply on the other. We are due to peak at 9 or 10 billion in 2050. We have run through the 90% of the world's fish stocks in the past 50 years. That's why Jimmy in the cafeteria has fish finger, 20% real fish. I'm now thinking that 20% was high. Interesting question. What is the other 80%? So those things are on the road, and I think we're past the point where even governments can be global warming deniers, as they have managed to